All right. Thank you, Coach. I understand you want to start with some words today.
Yeah, I'd would like to begin by expressing deepest condolences and thoughts and prayers to the family of David Hurr, who was our Chief Technology Officer for the last 3 years. His wife, Michelle. He was a wonderful man who touched every aspect of the organization as the Chief Technology Officer. I've had a lot of interactions with him over the last, really over the last three or 4 years. And he passed yesterday suddenly and tragically. I'm not exactly sure what the cause was, but it hit all of us very, very hard. Wonderful man, wonderful part of the Mavs organization, part of the family, and very, very sad. So our thoughts and prayers go out to his wife, Michelle, and the family. So very sorry to hear about that. Moving on to basketball, JJ Redick joined us today. He did not practice, but he worked out and did some treatment rehab stuff. Don't have a timetable for his return to playing in games, but my understanding is that things are going in a very good direction. And we obviously hope that he can be back 100% sooner than later. He's joining us here. He's going to join us on the remainder of this trip tomorrow in New York, Saturday in Washington, and then travel back to Dallas with us. So we're excited to have him on board. This, I guess, officially completes the trade, and we'll move forward from here.
All right. Dwayne Price.
Yes, Rick. Whenever JJ is ready to play, how do you see him helping your team down the stretch and throughout the playoffs?
Experienced basketball player who's one of the great shooters in the history of the game. He knows how to play. He's got 110 playoff games experience. He's a guy situationally whose shooting is a difference maker. And defensively, he's proven over his career that he's a solid system defender. So we feel like he can help us on the floor. We feel he can help us with our day-to-day culture. He's a meticulous worker and a tireless preparation guy, and all those things are great things to add to your organization.
Mark Followell.
Good afternoon, Rick. Tomorrow night there at Madison Square Garden, you're going to coach in your 1,500th game as a head coach in the NBA. Don't know if you were aware of that or not. When we talked last week, you said Madison Square Garden, by the way, was one of your favorite arenas. So that's kind of a nice aspect to it. But in the past, we've asked you when you've reached certain milestones of success about some of your thoughts on that. Obviously, to achieve success, you have to have longevity as well. So when you think about longevity records, what has been your key and what has been important to you to be able to be in the business long enough to coach that many games?
Gosh, when you get into this league as a player, and you have an opportunity to make the league, you hope it never ends. There's always an edginess about every day that you're on an NBA team. And then, when I moved over to coaching, it was a similar thing. It's a highly competitive business. There are actually way fewer coaching jobs than there are jobs playing in the NBA. And so I've never taken it for granted. I've really approached it that, every day is like a one-day contract. And I try to find the joy in the journey of each season. With this particular year, and the challenges, it's been a different kind of thing. it's the challenge of keeping a positive vibe, you know, even when you're going through some difficult COVID situations, things like that. But I'm not counting the games. You know, 1,500 is quite a few. Been blessed to, you know, coach some great players. You know, guys like, you know, Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Reggie Miller, Jermaine O'Neal. You know, Ron Artest was a great player. And then obviously Dirk, you know, Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, you know, Marion, Tyson Chandler, those guys. And then, you know, now just, you know, as the franchise has moved to a new direction, you know, with Luka and KP and Hardaway and Dodo and all these guys, you know, you got to be fortunate to have good players to coach. So feel very lucky, and you know, get to the end of today, and then tomorrow's one-day contract will start.
Skylar Dixon.
Thanks, Alan. Rick, sorry to hear that about the member of the organization. Thoughts to you and the family. So if you guys are fortunate enough to make the playoffs, I wondered how many games you thought JJ Redick, not Barea, by the way, I'm going to have to get used to that too. How many games does he need, do you think, to maybe have his feet under him for the playoffs? And how do you go about kind of factoring him into the rotation while you don't have him to actually put in games?
Yeah, you know, he'll be on here shortly. You can ask him, you know, what he feels that amount of time is. I've seen him over the course of his career. You know, he's had stretches where he's missed a few games here and there, but he is such a meticulous preparation guy, and such a hard worker that my feeling is, from what I've seen over the years, anytime he's come back, he's been able to get back into it pretty quickly. And so at this stage of his career, you know, a couple weeks, 3 weeks off, whatever it's been, might actually be a good thing. But the exact timetables, you know, I don't know that. I mean, I don't know. But being a veteran player, you know, once he's healthy, you know, we'll have him out on the floor playing, and you know, we'll try to figure it out as quickly as we can.
Stephen Bondi, New York Daily News.
Hey, Rick, you know, obviously KP's coming back to the Garden for the second time. You know, how do you think he's handled this season? You know, he's coming off surgery, obviously, and it's been a trying season for everybody. But how do you think he's grown as a player since, you know, since he left New York?
Look, he's been tremendous. It's been a little over 2 years, I think, since we acquired him and Tim and Trey in the trade. And accordingly was the fourth guy. And all those guys have contributed significantly to our franchise. You know, KP's had unique challenges, but he is a tough guy. You know, he has taken them all on. He's a relentless worker. You know, the games when we hold him out, I mean, we hold him out. He is not asking to sit. In fact, you know, it's quite the other way. You know, he really wants to play in every single game. And so, but I've just seen, you know, really particularly the last year and a half since he's been on the floor with us. You know, he's one of the first guys in the gym on, you know, every single day, shoot around days, non-game days. He gets his work in. He works on his body. He spends a lot of time with Shamgod on the development side, working on his individual games. So it's a lot, you know. You know, I spent some time in New York. I mean, I played here for, you know, better part of a year and a half or something like that. You know, back with Rick Pitino in his first year, and in a season where we were able to get it going and make the playoffs. And New York is big. It's Gotham. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of media attention. There's a lot of scrutiny. And I think, this is just my opinion, KP has really learned how to sift through that stuff, filter it the right way, and just concentrate on keeping himself ready to play and help the team.
All right, one more from Mark Berman, New York Post.
Hey, Rick. Yeah, again with the Knicks. I mean, they've been down for so long, and Tom Thibodeau's come along, and they're a 500 or better team. How much credit do you think Tom deserves for this sort of turnaround?
I think Tibbs is a great coach. When he went to Chicago, they had immediate success, and they had quite a turnaround there. I mean, they had been pretty good, but then I believe they went to the conference finals in his first year, and Derrick Rose was the MVP. With Rose coming back to New York, I know he's only played a couple games, but he's played very well. He plays great in Tibbs' system. Tibbs he's a difference maker, man. When he went to Minnesota, they went from a team that hadn't made the playoffs in a long time, and they became a playoff team. And the Knicks are certainly positioned in the East to do that. And so, he's a guy that has great respect, within the coaching ranks because of, what he stands for as a tactician, what he stands for as a guy that believes in tough, hard-nosed play, and unselfish play, and particularly on the defensive side. And, he's got this team playing to its strengths. And so, I can tell you that none of the coaches that know him are surprised at all that this turnaround has happened.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.